Week 2. You beat me in week 1. Guess the lines.
Yeah.
We guess the lines every week. Week 2. Thursday night is actually a pretty good game. Dolphins-Bills. And we didn't talk, I guess Dolphins-Jags was the one game we didn't really talk about. I didn't think the Dolphins looked good at all in that game. And the game got swung by this crazy Travis Etienne play where they're up 17-7. He's running into the end zone, Ernest Biner style. Somebody pokes the ball out, fumble, goes into the end zone. When you have the team where the guy fumbles into the end zone, it's one of like the top 4 worst football fan on the couch feelings, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
All
and then
that
you're
for
7
nothing.
points off. If you had the over in the game, that's screwed up. Next play, 80-yard Tyreek touchdown on a play that only he can score
we
on.
we haven't talked
And we
about
got to talk about the Tyreek thing too. Yeah, we didn't talk about that either.
Yeah, I mean, he was destined to score. I made us bet plus 550 that he scores twice today after that, after they unshackled him there. But he only scored once. But when are you going to be more motivated than after you're arrested? Even Scotty Scheffler was able to figure it out.
Well, he seemed really pissed off about it after the game. And, somehow this is another NFL tradition where some sort of off the field something becomes a major story. And this is going to be the major story over the next couple of days is what happened. Why did he get arrested? Who knows what? And Miami police. And it just feels like this will be a 48-hour thing. I was surprised that it didn't affect him because that touchdown that he scored was one of those, he's the only player in the history of football who could have scored on this.
Right.
Cutting it up out, but you have to somehow do a 90-degree turn with 2 guys on you, but then keep your speed, full speed, but not go out of bounds. And he's the only one. Is there any other football player you've ever seen who could do that?
And remember to do the handcuff celebration at the end. Yeah,
right. Did that too.
No, I don't think there is anyone. But they. And you broke the news to us before we went live on about 6 minutes before we went live on Ring a pregame show. I was like, oh, you're screwing around. This is you just trolling JJ, who's a big Dolphins fan. But this stuff happens pretty regularly now. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, for the Dolphins, they were about to go down 24-7. They get the fumble. They get the touchdown. The moment he scores, you're like, oh, they're definitely going to win. Then they end up gutting it out, basically. But Jacksonville completely fell apart. I had it written down.
I know you had Jacksonville, and we're used to Miami, but did it seem like there were more plays for Miami that started 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage than ever before?
Yeah.
I mean, you got all these speedsters and he's throwing these swing passes that are like 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and they'll run 8, but it's only a +3. Like, what's the Dolphins offense about?
Did you think Tua was good in that game? Because I did not.
No, I don't like the game plan. I don't know. Maybe it was miserably hot and you just go with the team ultimately with the lighter jerseys.
Yeah, that's why. When it's, Florida in September, it's hard to say. Miami had 10 quarterback pressure. So that was one thing where I thought, I didn't think their pass rush, maybe, especially in the first month without Chubb, would be the same, but they actually did it. Jacksonville second half, when they had 10-point lead, punt, red zone fumble, turned it over on downs with just a classic stupid Doug Peterson play. He's good for like 4 of those a year.
Right.
Punt, and that's how it went. They got the ball back 17-17, 2:13 left, and Lawrence got sacked twice. And they had to give the ball back, and that's how Miami ended up winning. So that was a pretty awful loss for Jacksonville. But I also, if I'm Jacksonville, I'm like, we win if Etienne doesn't fumble. Like that game's done. So anyway, as we head to guess the lines for Thursday night, it's in Miami, and I have Dolphins -2.5.
Oh, you went a little high. I said 1, and it's 1.5. Let me just check. Let me just make sure.
No, you get that
1.5. Yep. It's a good line. Right in there.
It's a good line. What a weird week for Miami. They're playing 2 football games, and they're going to have this Tyreek Hill, why was he arrested fiasco.
Yeah.
And that's just all going to happen over the course of 96 hours. and Mike McDaniel's trying out for Boogie Nights too.
That humidity was not good for whatever he's trying to do with his hair. I have to say that.
They needed to play Sister Christian while he's just zoning out, watching somebody throw firecrackers. Our Sunday marquee game, which we really need because there's only 3 late afternoon games, but we got a Chiefs-Bengals game in Kansas City. And it's not there's no must wins in a week 2, but the Bengals getting thrashed by the Chiefs and going down 0-2 for the season. And that might be unrecoverable for them. So I have, this has to be in the T zone. I have Chiefs by 6.
Yeah, that's what I had. 5.5 is the correct answer. Yeah, we should come up with a name for that, because this is where there's always a 0-1 team that we're like, oh, they have to win this week. There's no way this team's going 0-2. And then they do go 0-2, and then they show that stat. Well, only 12% of the teams who have gone 0-2 have made it to the playoffs, or 4%, whatever it is. So, I don't think Cincinnati's that team. They're pretty hefty underdog in Kansas City, but
they seemed, now granted, this is where you get into trouble with week 1's overreactions, but they just don't seem as potent as they used to. And Higgins didn't play, but they didn't have a running back that scared me. Burrow didn't seem like himself. Chase, the Pats just took him out, and they didn't really have a lot of places to go. Like, they had a touchdown to Gesicki in the corner that he ended up not holding on to.
Yeah.
Gesicki's been bouncing around. Like, he was in the Pats, and that was who they were kind of going to on a key play, and then somebody else fumbled on the next play.
You want to pencil the Bengals in for 34 points offensively, right? And I just don't think we're even close to that team yet.
Well, I remember, so when we did the over-under pod, I had some of the alt unders for them, and I think we talked about them because this is a Raheem thing. Oh no, hold on. It's in another. I have all these different files. How many files do you have for this stuff?
There's a lot. I have
to go to my AFC Master 2024 file.
That's it.
Yeah, they under 8.5 wins for them was plus 250. Under 7.5 wins for them was plus 440.
Yeah.
And it's like, is 7-10 insane for that team after they lost to I wouldn't say 7-10 is insane.
No, we should have banged that out. Yeah.
Wish we'd talk.
Especially after the slow starts every year.
The watchables. Somehow in a 16-game slate, I only have one watchable, and it's Rams Cardinals in Arizona. This is a super fun game. 2 0-1 teams, by the way. Division matchup. These teams have had, I want to say they've had entertaining games in the past. I feel like I've watched a couple of them. I don't have it on hand, but I feel like these games are usually kind of fun.
Had a wild card playoff a few years ago on a Monday, I think. Yeah.
I have the Rams favored, and I didn't know whether to go 1.5 or 2.5, and I settled on 2.5.
Oh, nice. That's what I had. It's 1.5. We tie.
Me. So it's 1.5. Okay.
That's fair. You love Arizona on a teaser. Love
them. They're just a good teaser team because if you take them past the touchdown, even if they're down double digits, you still feel like they can get the cheapie to come back.
You know what? I don't want to sound arrogant here, but a lot of times we would say, I love this. I'm going to bet it right after we do the podcast, before the podcast post, so that the line doesn't move. We don't have that luxury anymore unless we do it right now.
Like literally right now?
Okay. Oh, yeah,
live. On YouTube. Right.
Because we're live.
People are like, what? People are moving the lines on us.
Yeah.
Fairly watchables. I have 6 games. The first one is Ravens Raiders. It's in Baltimore. And I guessed the lines before I watched the week 1 games. I did a preliminary guess. No, and then I changed to my picks after. This was one of the ones I moved after watching the Raiders. I think this has to be over 7. I have Ravens by 7.5 over the Raiders.
Yeah, you get this. I don't know why I went light. I don't know why I love this Raiders team. I said 6.5. It's 8.5. So you were a point off.
This is going to be tough sledding for the Raiders.
So this is the no way they go 0-2 team, right?
Who?
The Ravens.
The Ravens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and the Raiders, they could lose this game, go 0-2, but their next 2 are Carolina home, Cleveland home. Then they have at Denver.
Right.
So the schedule's in their favor.
I knew there was a reason I liked them. Yeah.
Yeah, you did love their schedule. Okay. I like that spot for the Ravens, by the way. Man, it's going to be hard not to tease them. Do we tease that now before it gets to 9?
It just got to 9. We got a lot of viewers on there.
It's 9.5.
It's 11.5 now. Yeah.
All right. Next one. Jaguars, Browns in Jacksonville. There's a chance it's going to be super hot in this game. I have the Jaguars by 3.5.
That's what I had. I'm going to announce what I was off before.
What is it?
I tell you.
Is it way?
3.
Are we way off? Oh, it's 3.
No, it's 3.
Okay. What'd you think of the Browns defense today?
It reminded me at times of what they did against Houston. Like they went most of the year without giving up big plays, and then they couldn't help themselves against Dallas.
Yeah,
and CD wasn't even extraordinary either. So,
no.
But Garrett's always a menace. Garrett went up against our rookie and beat him up pretty good. But he's happy.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Jets Titans is the third fairly watchable. I have this because the Titans, I don't know. This feels upsettish to me, especially if the Jets win in San Francisco on a Monday night. And it's like, now they're going to go to Tennessee and easily beat 10. And then all of a sudden they're down 17-0. It's in Tennessee. I have the Jets favored by 3 points.
I was a half point off. I said 5. It's 4.5.
Oh, man. That is not a lot of respect for the Titans.
I mean, that Levis, that mayonnaise coffee drinking, backward peddling. I'm just sick to my stomach. I'm so mad. What can we say?
Have to do the rankings of players you hate their guts in the 2024 season?
Mad at
Levis is number 1 for you?
I'll never claim that someone's trying to throw a game, but he was just like, it was like kill the man with the ball. And he's just like, get away from me, take this. And then he like throws a fit on the field. He's like, watch that too. Go back and watch that. That was sickening. They should not have won, let alone covered that game. We're back.
I should have put Lions Bucks in the watchables. I apologize to the Bucks. I'm going to move that up. That's a mistake. That's a bad job by me. Lions Bucks. So we have 2 watchables this week. It's in Detroit. Tampa, the way they move the ball, I should have put that in that category. I have the Lions favored by 6.
Yeah, I was way off here. I said 3.5. It's 6.5. I thought a little more respect. I don't know. What were they favored over the Rams?
Did they play
4
in round 1 or am I crazy?
They played in round 1.
Round 2?
Right?
Didn't they play in the playoffs last year and the Bucks kind of hung around?
Round 2.
Am I imagining that?
Tampa
round
beat Philly. Round 2.
Yeah.
Tampa. Yeah, they were in that game. Yeah.
Line feels a little high. Okay, next one for fairly watchables. Colts at Green Bay. And God only knows what this line's going to be. We didn't talk about Colts Texans, so let's do this right now before we do the Colts Packers guess, because I forgot to talk about Colts Texans. That game was really fun. The Texans ran 76 plays, the Colts ran 43, but Richardson had 3 50-yard plus passes that were completed, including
that one. Was that
one of
Pierce?
the craziest passes ever.
It's insane.
He was falling backwards and just chucked it Roberto Clemente, Bo Jackson style, like Dave Parker, like a 300-foot bomb. And he hit Pierce, and he was super exciting. He was all over the place, but his highs are really high, and his lows, he was doing this.
I feel you'll get that with the Colts. I'm trying to think who is the fun team? Maybe they're the new Chargers, or maybe the Chargers will always be the Chargers, but I like the scoring potential for them.
So the Texans ended up not covering that, right?
Right. 20. They were giving 2.5.
It ended up being 2.5.
I think we said that was our rat game, right? And, and our overreaction game, but I don't know. Maybe we didn't overreact to that. I feel like Richardson was not great, but had
I thought it was
really
a stay
good
away.
throws.
Yeah. House had it as his wise guy lock. Houston had 26 first downs. They had 213 yards rushing. Mixon had 34 for 159.
I mean, 34 is by far, I think, his biggest output for carries. Yeah.
So you look at the box score, you're like, how is this close? And it was close because Richardson made 3 insane throws and kept them hanging around. But Kyle mentioned this actually when we were watching it. It was a physical playoff-y kind of game. I thought that was like the most playoff-ish of all the early games for how hard those guys were going and hitting each other and yelling at each other.
Yeah, definitely. You expected one of them to roll over by the fourth quarter.
Yeah. No, it was a bit. The Colts are a little better than I thought. So,
yep.
I actually have the Colts favored in Green Bay because I don't know who Green Bay's quarterback is going to be. I have Colts by 1.5.
All right, you're going to steal this from me. I had 1, and it's 3. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be Malik Willis, but my God, even 3 is low if it's Malik Willis.
Tom Brady? I guess if he came back, he'd want the job for the whole year, not for 4 weeks.
I decided
I'd come back for 4 weeks and then they go back and do announcing. Yeah.
That's right.
Last one, Steelers Broncos. House tried to get the name Backdoor Bo for Bo Nix going, and it didn't take. I don't want to call another human being Backdoor Bo. But he was pretty rocky. I talked to our friend Gus Ramsey, diehard Broncos fan, about it after, and he's like, I'm not going to overreact. Talk to me in November. But he had one throw, and Kyle and I rewound it. He threw a pick. He's throwing in triple coverage, and the ball was in the air, and it hadn't gone for the interception yet. And you could hear the announcer go, "Oh no!" But the ball was still in the air and hadn't been caught by anyone yet. Like, that's how bad the throw is. So he had a couple of no plays.
I watched him a lot when he was at Oregon because my kid goes there and everything. And I don't know why. I feel like whatever. They were all bad. But I did see 5 throws I thought were good. And maybe that was just the toughest place to play. He also has a bad history in Washington, losing to that team last year. So
I can't say their skill position guys were knocking my socks off.
That's the other thing.
That was the other thing. That offense might even be worse than the Pats offense.
Mm-hmm.
At least we had Ramondre able to.
I like it. I like where you're talking now.
No, I didn't.
Keep you around. What do you think this line? Wait, where do we have this?
I have the Steelers favored in Denver by 1.5.
Do I get this? Yeah, I said 3 and it's 2.5.
I'll tell you this. Going from Seattle on the road to home against Pittsburgh is not the way to start the season if you're a rookie QB. This Steelers defense is going to go nuts. I love the Steelers in this game. I might bet this right now. I might bet this as we're talking.
Went up to 6.
Poop fecta, 5 games. We have a 5-game poop fecta. Week 2. Although, I guess Seahawks Patriots, does that qualify as a poop fecta or fairly watchable?
I like a lot of these games still.
All right. I'll put the Pats in fairly watchables.
By the way, we have to, we usually take a team out of the playoff running. Can we knock out 2?
Oh, I have a spot for that.
Oh, you do? All right.
So Seahawks at the Pats. I think the Seahawks are favored. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but it might be a winnable game for the Pats with that Seattle offensive line. As Mike Lombardi always says, bad offensive lines don't travel.
Right.
And they'll be traveling to New England. I have Seahawks by 2.5, though.
Who gets this? I get it. I said 4. It's 3.5.
Oh, my God. Are you going to beat me again?
Let's see.
Why do you do this to yourself?
4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am up 7-6. Still have a few more.
I think this line settles at 3 or 2.5. What do you think?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Kenneth Walker has a Red Cross by his name. I mean, he was outstanding today.
Oh,
but
God.
If he can't
really?
Go,
he's already Red Crossing it?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
Poop fecta, 49ers at the Vikings. So you don't think the Vikings are poop fecta just because they beat up on the Giants?
No, I think you're probably right. I think this is when they come down back to earth. But it is a short week, right? For San Francisco?
It's in Minnesota. I have 49ers by 4.
I had 4 also. It's 5.5. You want to tease that?
Chang came over to watch some football today, and he was saying how he has some mole with football stuff.
Oh.
And the mole was telling him how Darnold was going to have a big year in Minnesota, and there's a lot of stats that back up him being good. This is Chang. I don't know. I don't know
a mole
what to tell you.
Told him a player's going to be good. A player that's been in the league forever.
Told him Darnold was going to be good for the Vikings and to watch out for Darnold. Yeah.
I need names. Tell him I need names. We need his source.
So 49ers 5.5. Next
Darnold
one
was a few years ago. Darnold led the league in rushing touchdowns after 3 weeks. He does this sometimes.
He had that run with the Panthers a couple years ago, and it seemed like they might actually make the playoffs for him.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Panthers, they're home for the Chargers.
I was off by 2.5 points here. I'll just warn you.
Really?
Yeah.
I have the Chargers by 3.5.
Oh, wow. You went the other way. You win. I said 7. It's 4.5.
Oh.
Why?
Vegas zone.
Hold on. Teams are just lighting this junk squad up by 40.
Because the Chargers barely got to 22 points today. And
all right.
I don't know. They're laying more than 5 points when they can't really score points. I can see why that line's like that.
Yeah, but you're about to whatever spot you have us in, declare Carolina not playoff worthy. And once they hear that, they're just going to give up on the year.
I am willing to cross off Carolina right now.
There you go. All right.
That's we do a second, off, right? I would also cross off the Giants right now.
The Giants. Yeah, those were my 2.
Have we ever crossed off 2 teams in week 1?
I don't think so. But how does either make a comeback?
I wonder. I'm going to check on FanDuel really quickly because they must have the playoff odds, right?
They don't really have it. No, they
don't have. Yeah, they do have the playoff odds.
Oh, they do?
Oh, just Jets.
No,
and
just
Niners.
for the 2 teams. Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, here's why it's bad enough the Giants looked as hideous as they did, but we're pretty confident the Cowboys and Eagles are going to be good, right? So
yeah, that's 4 losses.
That's 4 losses, right? And
I'm not. By the way, I'm not totally confident on their team.
Really? What do you need to see?
I thought Deshaun was that bad. I don't even know what to make of that game. I thought Deshaun was so bad there was no way to even tell that much about either team.
Can I say this, though? This goes underreported. And maybe I shit on running backs too much, but I know that's your problem with my team and a lot of other people.
It's one of many problems.
Would you rather have a 1,200-yard rusher and an average kicker or a 750-yard leading rusher and the best kicker in the freaking world that anyone's ever seen?
He lined up for 71, and it seemed like they might actually let him try it.
Yeah. And when are fans disappointed when they don't let your kicker try a 71-yard field? Because that's where I was. It's like, this is a no-brainer. Of course you have to let him try.
Let's see if he can do it. Right.
Yeah. I think that guy's worth points when we're looking at lines and stuff like that. Even more so.
I think it's a good, like what the way Tucker was. I think that's a good point. I think Dicker is that good too in the Chargers. I have Dicker in all 3 fantasy leagues. And I think he's, how many field goals did he have today? Like 4?
I think he did,
5?
Yeah.
4 or 5? 4, because he had.
We could look, yeah.
Because he had 12 points in our fantasy league. But I could see him having like 40 plus field goals this year.
All right, but he's not blasting 65 yards.
No,
I mean,
he's
it's
not
just
like
a monster.
Your guy. No, that's a good point. Speaking of your team, you're home for the Saints. I threw this right in the Vegas zone.
What do you consider this? Not watchable?
I put this in the Poopfecto.
Oh, really? All right.
I don't want to watch the Saints.
Derek Carr had 200 yards passing today. You understand?
They didn't make me think any differently of whatever they did against the Panthers. I don't care. Fine, I'll move it to fairly watchables.
So this is your no way they're going to be 2-0.
So we only have 3 Poopfecta games then if we're moving that. That's fine. I have the Cowboys by 5.5.
You lose on this. I said 6. It's 6.5.
Oh, that's too high. That's stupid. So you're going to beat me this week. I got 3 games left.
6, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, I'm only up 1. Yeah, there's 3 left. I'm up by 0.5 point, 2.5 points. I'm sorry, 0.5 point, 3 points, and 1.5. You could do this.
Washington at home against the New York Football Giants. So you have probably the worst defense in either conference against maybe the worst offense in either conference. I don't know what to make of this game. I only know that it needs to be in the Vegas zone. And I have Washington by 5.
Wow. I had 3 and it's 2.5.
Really?
I don't get it either because
so you're going to beat me. God
when Minnesota gave points on the road, I was like, what? That's nuts. They can't do that. And then they made it worthwhile this should be probably higher.
You know, Washington moved the ball in that game. Their field goal kicker missed a couple kicks, Cade York.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think their offense was that bad. They just can't.
They tried to get Daniels killed a couple times, but I thought he got a little bit better as the game went on.
I did too. I will say he seemed pretty skinny out there, and I know that he was skinny coming in, and
right,
but when you actually see him against all those giant NFL players, he's strikingly skinny.
They're bigger in the pros for sure.
He stood out. Like skinny in a way, like when he was scrambling and there were people coming at him, I had real fear for him. I was like, please don't get hurt, Jaden Daniels. I've been enjoying him. Sunday night, Texans home for the Bears. And I have the Texans by 4.
No, you get this. I had 6.5. I had 3.5. It's 6.5. 6.5 is
Jesus. High. Well, that's Vegas saying they didn't like the Bears offense.
You could tie me here, and I'm off by 1.5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10, 9. Good guys. 1 left. I'm off by 1.5.
Okay. Well, I have it. The Monday night game is Philadelphia home for the Falcons of Atlanta. And I have the Philadelphia Eagles by 5.5.
All right. You got it exactly. So I can't be too upset. I said 7. I'm not buying this Atlanta team at all, but it is 5.5.
Nice spot for the Eagles.
Yeah. What, 10 days off? 11
as a
days?
Cowboys fan, were you scared watching them with all the weapons?
I didn't like the Barkley thing at all. I thought their defense wasn't that great, but also it was so hard to tell on that field.
Yeah.
So that was my ultimate takeaway.